They say the rider vanished into the hawthorn mist and was never seen again. But those who knew Eleanor Quinn knew she never vanished. She simply moved on. For a time, she wandered. Not aimless, just unrooted. Until the wind carried her to the coast, to a village called Mercy Bay, a place that kept its own quiet sorrows. She came seeking stillness. What she found was the beginning of something else entirely. The wind carried the scent of brine and salt as Eleanor Quinn stepped off the boarding plank, boots landing on the weathered stones of Mercy Bay. This was not a place people came to make a name. It was where they came to forget one. The village slouched along the coast like an old sailor too stubborn to die, its rooftops stooped from years of storms and silence. Eleanor didn't look back. There was nothing behind her she needed, only memories dressed in grief. What she needed now was quiet, a place to vanish, a place to heal. Mercy Bay was small, suspicious, and full of secrets. It would suit her just fine. She found a space on the main street, close to the harbour winds and nosy neighbours. Perfect camouflage. The sign above the door was simple: Quinn Apothecary. She filled the shelves with remedies in dried herbs, brewed teas to help aching joints and broken sleep. The locals welcomed her without question. A widow, they guessed, or maybe a midwife from inland. She didn't correct them. Let the stories make their own way. Here, Eleanor could breathe. Here, she was not the rider. The market was full that morning. Fish scales glistened in the sun. Bakers shouted over each other with warm loaves in hand. Sailors grumbled about tides and rain. Eleanor wandered quietly, inspecting roots and spices, blending into the rhythm of the place, until she saw them. A cluster of children, thin, silent, too disciplined for any family outing. And behind them, Mr. Scruggs. He stood like a well-to-do gentleman, speaking with the fishmonger in whispered tones. The children didn't speak, didn't look around, just stood there, lined up like stock to be sold. Something twisted in Eleanor's gut. The way they flinched at his voice, the way their eyes stayed low. She had seen this before. The chapel stood at the far end of Mercy Bay, a quiet, weathered stone building, nestled between the cliffs and the sea. Eleanor had passed it many times without thought, but today her steps were drawn to it. She walked through the garden path. The wooden doors creaked as she pushed them open. Inside, it was dim, hushed. The air smelled of old incense and damp stone. Father Elric looked up from the altar. A young man, not long in the cloth, with kind eyes and a calm demeanour. He greeted her with a quiet nod. Eleanor didn't waste time. "I saw the children, in the market, with him." Elric's eyes dimmed with concern. "You mean Mr. Scruggs?" She nodded. "They didn't speak, didn't smile, they never do," he said softly. "Scruggs runs the orphanage, yes, but what he runs inside those walls, He paused, choosing his words carefully. Let's just say not all wounds are visible. They looked frightened. They are. But fear keeps them quiet, and Scruggs keeps his papers clean. As far as the magistrate is concerned, the man is a model caretaker. You're not the first to ask, but most give up. I don't give up, Eleanor said. Not when something's wrong. Alric looked at her, studied her with the same gaze he used when reading scripture. Then he nodded. I'll help you where I can. That night. It was nearly midnight. The sea wind moaned through the shutters, and the fire had burned low. The knock came soft. 3 beats, then silence. When Eleanor opened the door, she found a boy, soaked to the bone, shivering, and clutching a torn leather journal. He didn't speak, just looked at her, like he already knew she'd help. She guided him inside, locked the door. He handed her the journal. It was self-explanatory. The journal's pages were damp, ink smudged, but the words were clear enough. Names, dates, whispers of things done in the dark. Eleanor gave him a cot in one of the rooms. The boy quickly fell asleep. Eleanor sat down by the fire and realized she had been running from masks, but now she might have to wear one again. The next day, Scruggs came knocking. Without greeting her, he said firmly, "I believe you have one of mine." Peering past her and into her shop, he smirked and said, "You know how children are? Always wandering?" "This one didn't wander," Eleanor said coldly. "He ran." Scruggs' demeanor changed. His brow lowered, and his eyes pierced hers. "I'd watch yourself, Miss Quinn. Villages have long memories, and you're not from here, are you? I know who you are, or who you used to be." "Now fetch the boy, and we'll be on our way," he said sternly. After they left, Eleanor decided it was time to understand fully what was this journal the boy had given her. She left immediately to the church to find out more about what Father Alric knew.